Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Small Virginia producers could create a profitable niche market with cut flowers. Chef Maxwell brings us his own recipe for peanut cookies, and Virginia's timber industry is a valuable part of our rural economy. Welcome back, everyone. We're coming to you from Bright Acres Daylilies in Chesterfield County, and this industry is literally blooming all around. New growers are being attracted to the cut flower industry like bees to, well, flowers. Specialty cut flowers are flowers besides major florist staples like mums, roses, and carnations. The term cut flowers includes a variety of plant material, both fresh and dried or preserved. Buds, flowers, stems, colorful or budding branches, seed heads, stalks, any plant part used for floral and decorative purposes, all are considered cut flowers. Growers, especially smaller producers, could gain a lot by adding cut flower production to their operation. Susan Cheek, a small farm outreach agent for Virginia Cooperative Extension, says there's a fresh demand for cut flowers from a new generation.
I think it's reinventing, just like where we're going back to eating farm to table. It's not a new concept, it's an old concept being brought back.
Cheek and her fellow outreach agents are teaching a new generation of growers how to become profitable in the cut flower industry as part of the Small Farm Educational Outreach Program.
We do everything from crop selection, irrigation, fertilization, equipment selection, harvesting, handling, holding, marketing. I've introduced some of the florists to wholesalers or florists for the flower growers, or display them for market, and even some design work so people know what to do with them once they cut them.
Cooperative Extension reports that specialty cut flowers are one of the most profitable field crops you can grow. It's possible to earn $25,000 to $35,000 per acre for field-grown cut flowers. Adding cut flower production to an average small vegetable farm brings a lot of customer appeal and diversity. Shoppers at roadside stands and at farmers markets like to have many choices. Growers who interplant rows of cut flowers among rows of vegetables have even noticed a reduction in damage to their vegetable crops by pest insects. Amanda Montgomery sells her fresh cut flowers to a number of local restaurants. These types of businesses need fresh cut flowers for table arrangements. They often are just as interested in buying local flowers as they would be in fresh, locally sourced vegetables. Her business is booming, not bad for a business owner who started her first crop on her front lawn.
I own Hummingbird Gardens, and it's actually started in my front yard, which is in Bon Air. And so until this year, it was just my front yard. And that showed me that you can pump out a lot of flowers in a small space, which is real cool. But this year, it's my yard plus 2 other yards in Bon Air. Plus, Don has been generous and allowed me to come and utilize some of his space and learn from him as well.
Not only does Montgomery sell directly to florists and to restaurants, but she also operates a community-supported agriculture program with her Blooming Buds.
I have a variety of sort of ways that my flowers go out, and the first way is through, I have a thing called Flower Club, so it's a bouquet CSA. Last year, myself and 3 other growers started something called the Richmond Flower Collective. We're doing these events called stem bars in various locations starting in June and then probably going into October. We all go to this space and we set it up really nice, and people can come up and they can make their own bouquets, or they can bring a vase and make their own arrangement, and they can pay by the stem. And I think that's another really great way to be able to talk about local flowers and farming and cut flower farming to just kind of the general public.
Many local florists and supermarkets now offer sleeve bunches of locally grown fresh-cut flowers in their produce sections. Those stores need growers who can deliver sleeved bunches ready for sale, and they are buying local blooms as fast as flowers grow in springtime.
They don't realize how much money you can make doing it, and it makes you happy. Flowers are just a great thing. You walk out and there's kind of like a smile in the yard.
I think being able to provide something that is fresher than they can get anywhere else, whether that's a homeowner or another business or a florist, I'm really proud of that. And so I think that is, to me, that's a benefit because I feel good about what I'm doing.
For more information on the Small Farm Outreach Program and growing native cut flowers in Virginia, go to the Virginia Cooperative Extension website at ext.vsu.edu and follow the links under Agriculture and Natural Resources.
Floriculture is the production of cut flowers, bedding plants, bulbs, foliage, shrubs, and other plants that are used in home gardens or sold for decorations. Nearly 800 farms in the Old Dominion produce floriculture crops. 529 of them also have greenhouses, which allows floriculture to be present across Virginia from the mountains to the coast. And many producers work year-round. Together, they generate almost $123 million a year in cash receipts for growers, making floriculture the top sector in the state's green industry.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about compost for the home garden, from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
More than 90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made a promise to our local farmers to protect and preserve a way of life they'd worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member and enjoy the many benefits of membership. There's a local Farm Bureau in every county of the state. We think everyone should be a friend of the farm. Visit our website at vafb.com to learn more.
Good gardeners know the benefits of compost, and many times they make their own. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension shows us how from the ground up.
Hi and welcome. Today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm and we're going to be talking about compost. We're here with Dr. Leonard Katenji. Leonard, why would a gardener want to use compost? What are some of the advantages of putting that out in the garden?
There are so many advantages of using compost. One, you're going to help improve your soil in your backyard. And then when you mix your compost with your soil, you improve the water retention, nutrient retention. And besides, you're also recycling the nutrients because all the kitchen waste that otherwise go to the waste, you can recycle them by making some compost that is useful for your garden.
Leonard, is compost something that a home gardener can actually make themselves?
Yes, and it's so easy. You just need some basic skills, especially the ingredients. You just need to know that you need to have some browns and some greens that are going to be mixed together. 2 volumes of the browns, 1 volume of the green. You keep mixing and you end up getting your compost.
Now you've got it all in this great big bin. So is this something you would advise a gardener to put together?
It's more convenient if you have a bin like this, which is approximately 1 cubic yard, which is large enough a gardener can make. You don't have to use all the materials that we have over here. It can be so simple. The whole idea is to make sure that it's all together and it's easy for you to keep turning it.
Okay, so you could probably they can find scrap lumber and things like that. I notice you've got some wood here, and sometimes you can buy treated lumber. Is there a good way that something they should use? Should they use treated or non-treated?
Yeah, we recommend to use non-treated lumber. Like most of what you have used here is non-treated lumber, just because you want to make sure that you are safe. Whatever you use for compost for growing your crops, you want everybody to stay safe.
Okay. Now, what kind of maintenance do you have? So you don't just put the material in here. Do you have to check it occasionally?
Yeah, it's important to keep turning the material so that you have enough air, oxygen, and that you make sure you're adding water, because those are the key ingredients other than your browns and your greens. And then if you do it carefully, you make sure that the temperature is rising. You can invest in getting a thermometer that you can check your temperature. And the idea is to go very close to 120 degrees, 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so turning it, making sure that it's turned properly, making sure that the temperature is proper.
Right.
Add a little bit of water occasionally?
Right.
Okay. And then they're going to have something that they can put out in their home garden, something they've made themselves from materials they have.
That's right. And you know it's well done when you don't recognize any of these materials. Everything is decomposed. All you have is something like this that you cannot recognize the original component that you put in there.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for letting us come out and talk with you about this today. I really appreciate that.
And thank you.
Well, for more information about compost, how to make it, or even how to use it, contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are a popular treat. Chef John Maxwell creates a unique version next in the heart of the home.
We have 37 parks across the Commonwealth. Every year, 10 million visitors enjoy 600 miles of trails from beaches to mountains, hundreds of cabins and campsites, even yurts. We are Virginia State Parks.
Virginia peanuts go well in any dish. Today, Chef John Maxwell uses them in a timeless dessert recipe in the heart of the home.
Hi, welcome to the Heart of the Home. I'm Chef John Maxwell, and we're here in Doswell, Virginia at Meadow Hall in the Meadow Event Park. And we're getting ready to play with some great Virginia food. Now, everybody knows that the world's finest peanuts come from Virginia. So to celebrate peanuts, I'm going to be making some cookies, some peanut cookies. And they're really good, they're very tasty, and we've got a couple of little twists for you. All right, we're going to start out with butter, all right, and shortening. We're going to cream these together with brown sugar. So I'm going to add the brown sugar to it. 2, 3, cup and a half brown sugar. All right, now this is noisy, so all right, we're going to lower that down, lock it in place, and let it run. It's going to take 3-4 minutes for this to cream really good, and I'm going to scrape it down a couple of times with my spatula here. Okay, I know not everyone has one of these nice, powerful, semi-professional mixing bowls, but you can use a hand beater if you want. And as I was just talking with the crew, my grandmother taught me how to make cookies. We used a wooden bowl and a wooden spoon to make the cookies with. So you don't need this particular machine to make them. It just makes it a lot easier. All right, I'm going to add these eggs one at a time in here, right, with the mixer going. Okay, now what I want to do is add some flour, and I'm going to get ready to add some chocolate chips and the peanuts. So. All right, now I added a cup and a half of all-purpose flour. Right? You can use pastry flour if you want. That'll give you a more delicate, crispier kind of cookie. I want it to be a little bit on the soft side and firmer so that you can so it'll hold the chocolate chips and the peanuts that we're going to get ready to add here in a moment. Flours are ranked according to the amount of gluten that's in it, because gluten is what makes bread hold to the fillings on a sandwich. It makes it a little firm. It's also what makes pasta work. Right? But you don't want a lot of gluten in a cookie. You want it to be crumbly and crispy. All right, now what I'm going to add next is the baking soda. And baking soda is going to help this rise, and it operates on two principles. One is temperature, and the other was moisture in the, this baking soda. So it's got some activating ingredients in it that we want to add it last into a moist environment. And I'm going to add the peanuts and some chocolate chips. And about a teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. Now we're just going to make sure this is all mixed up well and incorporated. All right, we're all set. So let me get a pan. I've got the oven set for 350 degrees, so it's heating up nice. Just spacing them a couple inches apart. They won't spread too much, but they will spread a little. Because of the amount of butter and shortening that's in here, we don't need to grease this pan. Right? They won't stick. They'll adhere a little bit, but I'll go under it with a spatula and lift them off, and we don't have to do that. You could use paper, some parchment paper if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. You can go straight down to this, right? And they should not stick. Now I'm going to pop this into the oven, and it's going to take about 20 minutes for these to cook at 350 degrees. All right, I pulled these out of the oven a couple of minutes ago, and I pressed down on some of them to make them flatter. I left some of them the way they came out of the oven. So what I'm going to do now is something a little bit different. I'm going to set them down here. I'm going to make an interesting item, because you know how hard it is to get kids to eat stuff, right? So I'm going to make these cookies kid-friendly. I'm going to put some jelly on here. Not too much, just a little bit. So now I got the jelly on them. I'm going to put the peanut, which has butter in the cookie, right, onto this to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We're going to try these out, and in the event that they don't taste good, we'll come back, right, and do it again. So join us next week on Heart of the Home, where we get to play with great Virginia food.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. The American peanut industry was founded in Sussex County, Virginia in the mid-1840s. The Virginia-style peanut is considered a gourmet peanut and is grown mostly in Virginia and North Carolina. It has the largest kernel and is typically eaten as a quality appetizer or snack. Peanuts are raised on 170 Virginia farms, all in the southeastern part of the state. About 20,000 acres of farmland produces 81 million pounds of peanuts a year. Other states raise far more peanuts, but they are the smaller runner-style nut that's used for processed products like peanut butter and candies.
Virginia's timber industry has been around since the colony began in 1607. As Dave Miller reports, trees and forest products are important to the rural economy and all Virginians.
One of the very first natural resources to be harvested and exported from the Virginia colony were hardwood trees for ships' masts, posts, and beams, and hardwood flooring. Today, timber is treated as a long-term crop across rural Virginia. The timber industry is worth $21 billion to the overall state's economy, with more than 31,323 manufacturing jobs. The timber industry encompasses everything from construction lumber to hardwood floors to furniture to pallets for shipping and pellets for wood stoves. Hardwood lumber is one of Virginia's top agricultural exports to countries like China.
Again, it's the third largest contributor to our economy, and the products that we come from Virginia are amazing. We have products that go into our homes as dimensional lumber, and we have products that go into our paper products and pulp. We have plywood and OSB, pellets for the energy sector. So it is an amazing resource that is renewable and natural and has a sustainability so long as our landowners take place or continue to reforest and use those their land for sustainable forestry practices.
Timber is grown and harvested throughout Virginia. even near urban areas. There are more hardwood trees than pine trees grown in the Old Dominion, especially in the northern part of the state. Pine plantations for softwood products are more common in southern Virginia. About 62% of Virginia is forest land, and private landowners control almost 80% of all timber resources. Most of those timber owners replant their trees once they're harvested.
Well, pine is 35 to 40 years is what they're cutting now. Now, you can't tell, but the stand's right behind me. That stand there is 22 years old, and I thinned that. And the stand behind that, I clear cut 27 years ago, and I thinned that. So it's coming all back around, you know, so I'm just rotating around and trying to keep busy. But just goes to show, though, that if you replant, you can have this again.
Carter Flippo grew up working in one of the almost 600 sawmills here in Virginia. His family processes lumber from the weigh-in trucks all the way through the drying and the planer machines. They send a majority of their lumber to treatment plants to the south. Some of that lumber comes back to Virginia home centers like Home Depot and Lowe's. Flippo lumber deals almost exclusively with pine. A decade ago, at the peak of the housing market, there were close to 52,000 jobs at Virginia lumber mills.
We started off years ago just in the rough green lumber business. I always say put them in round, hope they come out square. But as time went on, we realized we couldn't really stay in business doing that. So slowly we got into drying lumber and dressing lumber. And then back through the 90s, we upgraded just about everything around here. And now we're in the finished lumber business. And we make everything from 1x4s, like you see here. It's a small part of our business. Main thing we do is 2-inch lumber, dimension lumber, 2x4 through 2x10. We make some 5/4x6 decking, timbers, 4x4s, 4x6s, 6x6s.
Sawmills and wood processing companies have different customers for the different types of wood they process. David Knighton's sawmill deals with hardwoods and produces lumber for a variety of products, from oak furniture to low-grade pallets and packing materials. To stay in business, no lumber is wasted in modern sawmills. Everything from the bark to the shavings is sold for use in products we all use. Wood pellets are sold to the electrical power industry as part of the federal clean and renewable energy programs.
We buy the timber, we log it ourselves, we bring it to our mill here, and then after we unload, we process it, run it through the sawmill, and then once it comes out into the boards, then that's when we grade it to determine whether it's higher quality for the furniture industry or what have you, or whether it's a lower quality for industrial grade. I guess I'm second generation. My son just started about 1.5 years ago, so he'll be third generation, and he enjoys it. He likes it a lot. So I think just the passing down, I guess, from generation to generation is what I really love about it.
The families that work in Virginia's timber industry are carrying on the tradition of processing the almost $336 million worth of timber harvested every year. With their help, Virginia's 15.8 million acres of forest lands are growing and flourishing across the state, while providing valuable sources of income for rural Virginians. In Caroline County, Virginia, this is Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Chesapeake Bay.